Okay, we are live. Awesome. So last time I went live was on Saturday, and I said, oh, well, maybe I'll go live again next Saturday because it's been a great way to update you guys and be able to take your questions. And then look, so much has happened in 2 days, like so very many things. And so I wanted to give a midweek update. I was considering just going and sitting on the couch after a really busy 2 days, and then I was like, no, people would like to probably know what's going on because it's been a lot. It's been a lot of stuff going on. So, first of all, I want to say thank you guys for staying tuned in to what's going on. We've been doing all kinds of actions all over the place, and you guys have been doing a really good job of staying on top of which one we're focusing on, and making sure that you're pivoting when it's time and everything. So I really appreciate that engagement because when you time it just right, legislators are listening and it's effective. So let's talk a little bit about what is going on right now. So when we talked on Saturday, I talked about the week ahead. I'll go ahead and I'll start with Monday. Monday was the medical marijuana debate in the Texas House of Representatives. It actually ended up not being so much of a debate. I think that we've really been able to make our point that cannabis is medicine. And while the bill may not be an absolute perfect bill, perfect program, and it has room for improvements, it is the bill that currently is moving that will help the most people. And Representative Lucio has worked really diligently to get it the support that it deserves in the House, so that it has that trajectory and that pushing it into the Senate. So it was only like maybe a 10-minute discussion having to do with an amendment that someone wanted to add, and they did a record vote, and it passed with 121 ayes. So a little detail about how it works at the Capitol is you'll take a vote on second reading, but then they'll log your official vote during the third reading, and that's the final official vote, because sometimes change their vote, or there might be more discussion, or they come back with amendments, and so that's how it works. So on second reading, we had 121 ayes, and this morning, today, we went to the Capitol and visited all of the nay offices. And we also encouraged you guys in the districts of those that voted nay to email. And we actually were able to get over 400 emails motivated to those, I believe it was 23. I'd have to go back and double check to be 100% sure, but 20-something legislators that voted nay. So hundreds of emails, and our office visits made it where when we had third reading today, we actually ended up with 128 ayes. So that is going to be the official vote count for us. And oh, I'm sorry. Let me correct myself. It said 128, but Representative Kane accidentally voted no. And he made sure that he recorded in the journal that he would like to be an aye vote. So when it shows up on my TLO later, you'll actually see 129. So I apologize for not being clear about that, but that is a really, really big deal. I'm going to mark off my checklist. I made a little list of what I would like to mention to you guys. And also, if you want to comment in the comment section, I'm going to try to do some questions if we have time. Also, I'm tired, so we'll see what we get to. So we also talked about last Saturday, only 4 days ago, that the hemp hearing had been canceled because of some priority legislation that the big three wanted to focus on, and it was rescheduled. So Monday, when it was supposed to be heard, they actually rescheduled it for today, for Tuesday. So this morning, after we visited all of the nay offices, we actually went and got to sit in on the hemp hearing in the Senate. The Senate holds their hearings quite a bit more differently than in the House. The House is the opportunity for a lot of the public to get out there and log their vote log their position and share their testimony on the matter. The Senate side, it's a little bit more expert witness driven, where they often call a lot of resource witnesses. So it wasn't a very long hearing. They had, I believe, 3 resource witnesses and about 8 people who were farmers and specialists that testified on the bill. So it was quick, and it was a great hearing. And since hemp passed unanimously out of the House, now it's having its committee hearing, and I am very hopeful that it will move forward. However, we need to not take anything for granted and make sure that your state senator knows exactly how you stand on hemp. So if you look in the description of this live stream, there's a link, texasnormal.org/bills-status. Let me try that again. texasnormal.org/bill-status-report. All right, that's the link. Click it up there, and you will find a link where you can actually email your senator about HB 1325, which is now in the Senate. You guys, all of our priority legislation in some form is now in the Senate. I mean, yay. It's a really big deal, and it's a little nerve-wracking. And there's only 20. How many days left? There's only 20 days left of the session, so we have a lot of work to do, guys. On to the next. So hemp hearing was great. Medical marijuana passed out of the House with a bipartisan supermajority. You heard it. So the rest of this week, I'm not sure exactly what it will hold. If we get any more movement in the Senate, I'll definitely keep you guys updated. But let me tell you what the current actions are. So HB 63, the penalty reduction bill for 1 ounce or less, it was voted out of the House. It is sitting in Senate waiting for the Lieutenant Governor to assign it to committee. So what we need you to do is make sure, first of all, that your senator supports this bill. Make sure that they know that you support it and that you want them to support it, and to request that it has a hearing, because this is important policy that will affect over 120,000 Texans over the next 2 years who will likely get arrested for 1 ounce or less. And so this would be a big policy change. It would mean no arrest, no jail time. You wouldn't lose your driver's license. So while it is not perfect policy, again, I'll freely admit that, it is much better than 180 days in jail, $2,000 fine, and a lifelong criminal record, and most likely you will not maintain your driver's license during that time. Oh yes, no, that's right, 180 days without your driver's license. So that's not good, but HB 63 would help change that. So make sure that your Texas senator knows how you feel about it. Again, in that link, you'll find an accumulation of all these actions. But also, let's talk about the Lieutenant Governor. I think you guys remember the drama, maybe, how he said that the policy is dead in the Senate, based on something that Chairman Whitmire said. And then Chairman Whitmire, of course, clarified his statement. You guys can watch that in the old live stream if you want a little bit more detail on that. But the Lieutenant Governor still has not scheduled it in the committee. So it's extremely important that you participate in that link as well, because the Lieutenant Governor's current position is not supported by, you know, the 84% of Texans that are no longer okay with the status quo, who don't think that people should be jailed or arrested for possession of cannabis, nor is it in line with his own conservative platform. I'm sure you guys have heard us talking about the platform plank that asks for it actually to become a civil penalty of $100. So in fact, HB 63 doesn't go quite that far, and yet the Lieutenant Governor is not currently supporting this policy. So it's extremely important that he hears from you guys on that. So that's my other one. And now that medical marijuana is on to its next step, we need to prepare the Senate for the conversation. So it only happened today that third reading is happening. It will be enrolled in the Senate soon. They'll get it, and then it'll be up to the Lieutenant Governor to sign it. But we need to make sure that those senators are having the conversation around it. Of course, you guys may recall that Senator Donna Campbell has authored a bill in the Senate having to do with medical cannabis. It hasn't had a hearing yet. It hasn't moved yet, but we are sending over medical marijuana with a bipartisan supermajority, and I'm very hopeful that the doctor will consider this worthy policy and consider signing on to it and supporting it. But make sure that your senator knows, and make sure that your senator is ready, that when the time comes, they can vote yes on this policy. So last but not least, I mentioned to you guys about the hemp things that are going on. And again, it's looking great, but in the link, you'll find a place to click and email your senators so that they know that you support Texas farmers being able to participate in a hemp growing program in Texas. As we know, the 2018 Farm Bill has put the onus on the state to either create your own program or we'll create it for you. We're not sure what the federal program would look like, but Texas is trying to institute its own program right now, and it's moving along. So that is good news, but don't stop participating in the process just because we think it looks good. We need to take nothing for granted. We have 20 days left of this marathon called the legislative session, and it's extremely important that during this last time we don't burn out. And I know that that's really hard because there was like 60 bills we were following. So if you guys are a little tired, I understand. But as for me, I'm going to sit on the couch and recuperate tonight. I suggest you do the same. This week might have some more activity ahead for us, but it's unclear exactly how quickly everything will move. It may not be till next week that we have more information on this. But of course, when we know, we'll let you guys know and get you guys energized and motivated and pointed towards what our next target is. And I also wanted to mention, if you are in the Austin area, we do these direct actions with our coalition partners. I think I mentioned last time, Texans for Responsible Marijuana Policy. It's a local organization spearheaded by Heather Fazio, and they have about 20 some odd different organizations that participate, Texas NORML being one of them, and we work closely together. And so we have been doing these direct actions together at the Capitol. We were doing them every other Wednesday from October to maybe end of February, and now we've been doing them weekly. So if you are in Austin and you're interested, we will be doing one tomorrow. It will be from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. You'll need to come in business professional attire, come ready to go to offices and to talk about medical cannabis. We'll have the information already provided for you. It'll be a handout that we're creating and we're going to be distributing, and we'll have maps and all that good information. So if you've never done it before, you're welcome to join us. And we've already got one scheduled for next week as well. So next Wednesday. So what is that? The 8th and the 15th are the days that you can join us up at the Capitol and have a direct impact on the Senate, because all of our bills are in the Senate. I like being able to say that. It's amazing. And that's where we'll be focusing our time, on the Senate and making sure that the Lieutenant Governor understands where the public stands on this matter, and make sure that he starts doing what the grassroots of the Republican Party would like to see. And so hopefully he is just absorbing some of this policy and what it does and learning a little bit more about it, and hopefully we'll hear back from him reconsidering his position. Thankfully, we can look back at the votes that we've had on HB 63 and on 1365, and we see that each time when we took actions in between the second and third reading, we were able to acquire more votes, and we were able to up the support that we had. So it's just wanted this to be a brief update about what's going on. I feel like it's Friday. It's Tuesday. It is not Friday, but it's been really busy. So thank you guys for all of your support. I also wanted to let you know that we're working on a whole bunch of printed material for the Capitol. So if you are able to make a donation through texasnormal.org/donate to help defray some of that printing cost, that would be so very appreciated. Sometimes I feel bad printing so much, and I'd really like to be printing it on hemp paper, but those medical binders that we helped put together that are like 600 pages thick of science are pretty amazing, and they make a statement. So please support us as much as you can during this final push, because it's going to take everything that we have probably to get us to the end game here, and it's looking good. All right, before I go, I'm going to take a peek in the comments and see if there are any questions maybe. What is the likelihood of HB 63 being heard in the Senate? It has not been referred yet. but we have 3 weeks. There's a lot of bills that haven't been referred. So there is still time for it to happen, but we need to put pressure on the lieutenant governor to make sure that he realizes that he needs to schedule it for a hearing. So that is a very important thing. Let's see. Looking pretty good. You guys are welcome. Oh, we love working with y'all. If we have already contacted our reps, do you recommend repeat calls or emails? So first of all, Karen, we are not focusing on representatives right now because all of our stuff has moved out of the House and is in the Senate. So we're focusing on our senators. So if you have already called or emailed your senator, like today, then I think it's okay for a couple of days, but it is all right to send multiple actions over a period of time. Of course, I don't necessarily think that you should call them 15 times in a row. That would maybe not be appropriate. But of course, multiple emails is okay to do. The binder is an identifier. 2 things that make this. Should we make repeat calls to the representatives? No, not to representatives. I touched on that. Okay. Glad you're going to join us tomorrow, Jesse. That's good. I appreciate it. Oh, I'm sorry that the video is glitchy. It's a bummer. All right, let's see. What is the best way to tell the lieutenant governor he needs to get with the program? We provide a script through the link. So we put forth a thoughtful email and a thoughtful little phone script that you can feel free to edit how you would like. But there is a nice way to persuade him and to give him, a way out. He validly may have misunderstood the policy. And so we need to, while not stopping the calls, we need to be very thoughtful and polite and make sure that we give him that space in that room to change his mind, which is what we've done with all of these other legislators that we were able to take from no's to yeses on hemp and penalty reduction. So I am hopeful that continued action will have effect, especially if we're able to be thoughtful, respectful, but persistent. I call that the peaceful warrior. So that is my tip for that. Use the scripts. They're helpful. Any bills for fully legalized marijuana? There was a joint resolution, but it did not make it out of committee. So that did not move forward. As I mentioned, you guys, there were 60 bills. If you go to our website and you click the 86th legislature, it'll give you a list of every single bill with hyperlinks to them, and you can click that and you can actually check on the stages yourself. Our personal priority legislation was surrounding reducing the penalties for possessing marijuana, making sure that more patients can have access to medical marijuana, and making sure that we can start growing hemp legally in Texas. Those were our 3 main priorities. Of course, we gave testimony on the joint resolution, but there was not very much appetite for that at this time, unfortunately. I am so energized that 1365 is headed to the Senate too, by the way. Adrian, hope I said your name right. Jesse has a few points on here, and you know what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to put a link to our activist training guide down here in the comments for you guys, because it has some documents that we put together, slideshows, even some videos that you can watch that will help you prepare to be up at the Capitol. So I'll share that. Let me write that down so I don't forget. So I see, when is the Senate voting? And I think you might be talking about the hemp hearing maybe. They don't necessarily schedule the vote. It's a little bit different. So it's kind of like in the House, you may recall that we had the medical hearing, but it didn't get voted for maybe a week was it 10 days, a week or 10 days later. So they have the hearing and then they vote at a later date. So I'm not sure exactly when that will be, but I think it will probably be pretty soon. So stay tuned for that. If marijuana becomes federally legal, can Texas still make it illegal? In theory, depending on the federal law, if they allow for states' rights, yes, they could. I don't like that answer, but okay. I think that I hit all of the questions that you guys answered. I touched on HB 63, which is penalty reduction, HB 1365, which is medical cannabis, and HB 1325, which is hemp. And we also talked about the lieutenant governor and how you can help with that. So I just wanted to tell you guys thank you. I appreciate y'all so much. And actually, can I be that lady, you guys? I have a dog. You guys want to see my dog? Oh, come here. Come here. Come here. Oh, did you? Oh, did you? Oh. Oh. He doesn't like it. He says, no, Mom, I don't want to. So this is Owen. He keeps me company when I'm at work here in the home office. So Owen says, bye. Thank y'all for your support. Look, he's smelling. Anyways, I'm sorry. I love my dog. Thank you for humoring me. And Jack Stinkle, Executive Director of Texas Oral, signing off. Hope you enjoyed your update. Thank you for tuning in and staying activated. And I will catch you on the flip side. Keep you updated. Stay tuned. I don't know what else to say, so I'm going to say bye. I hate beginning and ending these things. It's kind of awkward.